Welcome to Virtually Unbreakable, where we inspire you to live happier and more fulfilling lives. My name is Ella and I'm your host. Today's topic is how to attract the right partner when you're single and how to build a happy relationship with them. My guest today is Anna Prusińska. Anna is a relational integrative psychotherapist from London and a member of British Association of Counselors and Psychotherapists. Hi, Anna, how are you doing today?
Hi, Ella. Good to see you again. Thank you for the invitation.
Welcome again. So, Anna, this pandemic hasn't been easy on many of us. Many people decided to perhaps call it quits, finish their existing relationship, um, or filed for divorce, while many people have been single before the pandemic and are still single and are currently looking for the right partner and perhaps don't know where to start. What are the things we need to consider before we get in the new relationship?
So, first of all, I would start from checking what was wrong in the past, in your relationships in the past, because then it can give you some kind of idea where to start.
Okay.
And for sure, you have to start working on yourself, and on your attachment style. So you need to start working on what we were talking before already. If you are, for example, dependent on someone else, or if you are codependent in a relationship, so you need to shift a bit this attachment style to more healthy attachment style, which is for formulation of interdependent relationships.
Right.
I guess
If I can just pause you for 1 second, can we define what is an attachment style? Because many people don't know, and it would really help. Because as you're saying, it's an essential part of that work that we need to do beforehand, right?
Yeah, it comes from the work of psychoanalysts, and they discovered that our attachment style is forming in our early years of life, in the process of development with our parents. So we can have few different attachment styles. We can be either anxious or avoidant or disorganized, or we can have healthy attachment style. So if you are anxious, you are more on this side of dependent relationships with others. So you're afraid that someone may leave you, and you're trying to be so close to them that it can be too overwhelming for another. So if you are avoidant, so this is the person in a relationship that is not very emotionally available and is trying to somehow leave the relationship if it's too close, if you start forming too close bond. So for example, in the codependent style relationships, you would see the person who was having some kind of personality disorder, or is an addict, or having some other issue with intimacy. And there is also disorganized style, so you are both dependent and codependent. So you can either be very close to someone else and want to like grab them completely for yourself, or you just run away if it's too close. It's very chaotic generally.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's take one step back and just remind our viewers and our listeners that in order for you to build a happy and healthy relationship, but before that, in order for you to attract the right partner, it really helps to have a look at your childhood, have a look at your attachment style, and identify which type of attachment style you have developed, and B, what are the patterns in your previous relationships that perhaps you could learn from, right? And those two will be very closely connected for most people. And that's where, when we make those discoveries about ourselves and we build that awareness, okay, in my last 3-4 relationships, there was the pattern that I have been attracting, for example, unavailable men, right? Or I have been attracting people who are addicts, right?
Yes.
Or I have been attracting people who constantly rely on me to fulfill their needs. And understanding where this is coming from in our childhood, based on the relationship we had with our parents, will really help us identify and figure out what are our weaknesses, in a sense, when it comes to forming
Definitely.
Relationships, right? Cool. So
Definitely.
I'm happy you agree with that definition and that explanation. And okay, so we've got the attachment styles. And what about once we've identified this attachment style, let's say, and we know a bit more about ourselves, we spend some time looking at our previous relationships, and perhaps without overthinking too much, we have written down what the patterns are of unhealthy behavior and why perhaps they ended our relationships. What about forming healthy relationships? Can you help me define what a healthy relationship is, and how can we go about creating one? I know this is a big
So,
question.
yeah, it is. You have to find out on the way, and you cannot find it out without actually getting into the relationship. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So it's like you have no choice but make mistakes again and again and again, and learn from it, because that's how you learn to form relationships and healthy relationships with others as well. If you haven't learned that much before, or with your parents. Um, so we start from creating a relationship where you have some kind of honesty and trust and respect, mutual respect. There is open communication in healthy relationship. There is no problem uh, with disagreements, because even if there is disagreement or conflict, you can resolve the conflict without dramas. So both of you in this relationship try to be accountable also for each other. So whatever you say, you do, and you own your own stuff, your own words. So that's in this kind of environment you can just thrive in life, because your partner is on your side. You have similar goals. You look the same directions. You encourage, support each other, and do not undermine, like not create a chaotic environment.
Where they have to constantly put up with fires, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So let's recap this: honesty, respect, open communication, and valuing each other and respecting each other place in the relationship, and respecting each other independent goals, right?
Exactly, which means that you can both live together or separately, and both is fine. But you decide to be together, to love each other, to support each other. It's like love is not only a feeling; it's a decision.
So I think I totally agree with it. What I also want to add is that perhaps this will sound simple or self-explanatory for many of you, but I want to highlight that in order to form a healthy relationship with another person, you first need to have a healthy relationship with yourself. As simple as that. And
ideally.
And you really have to, if you are currently looking for a partner, if you are fed up from being single or divorced for a very long time, if you feel like your constant relationships are failure after failure after failure, you really need to look at the relationship you have with yourself. How much do you know about yourself? What things are important to you? Do you have a healthy level of self-esteem and self-worth? Or are you looking for another person to boost your confidence and how you feel about yourself? Are you looking for external things and external people, like most of us are looking up to our partner to make us feel good, to make us feel happy, right?
Yeah.
But this is not their job. And I know this might sound really harsh to many viewers and many listeners, but this is absolutely not their job to make you happy. It's your job to make yourself happy, and it's your job to understand and build your boundaries, to look after yourself, to know how to lift yourself up when you're feeling down, and to develop healthy level of confidence and a healthy level of self-worth. And when you have developed those things, you are perfectly positioned to create a healthy relationship with another person, where you're not over relying on each other to survive in life and to feel good about who you are, but they are your partner on your side that is complementing your life. So this was a very long,
Yeah.
sorry, this was a very long monologue, but I just wanted to highlight this because I think many people are feeling a bit lost when it comes to that. Do you agree? From your work, what do you see in your work?
Yes, that's true. As integrative relational therapist, I'm having like this kind of situations in clients' life all the time. Like they're talking about that, and they usually come with relational issues. And this is completely normal because humans are relational beings. Like we cannot grow without a relationship. Like as you said previously, with yourself first,
Yeah.
then with others, and also with something greater, with ourselves. And this is very often like, I just wanted to add to your comments that this is the way that we can do that, actually, how to prepare for this relationship, to, for example, use psychotherapy or some kind of psychoeducation, like the course we are creating at the moment,
Exactly.
like this. So you psychoeducate yourself. You go through all the questions. What is important for you? What are your goals? What are your values? You think who you are first. So this will really help
That's
very
right.
much to move forward with anything in life, not only with relationships, but also with your career, with your business, whatever, with your life purpose. So this is crucial to become independent person, and obviously for some it will be some kind of also finding their philosophy of life or going for a spiritual journey. It's like this third part I was talking about, so connecting to something greater than we are, so you don't depend on the partner to be
That's right.
your
Fulfill
everything,
all your
but
needs. Yeah.
yeah, there is something more.
Yeah, and I think this really relates to modern relationships, what you said, because we have, of course, it can easily be a topic for another discussion, but you have the modern family dilemma, right, where we women or whoever is in the role of a mother in our family put immensely huge expectations from ourselves, and trying to live up to those very high standards as
Yeah.
mothers, where we are perfect for everyone, but we are very often neglecting our own needs. But quite more often than not, women are ending up in relationships believing that a relationship is there or marriage is there to fulfill all their needs and make them happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that partner really is there to fulfill our need for friendship, fulfill our need for emotional connection, fulfill our need for feeling desired and sexual attraction, and is also there to act as a father or mother when we are feeling lost. And in the meantime, they should do all the school picks ups and drops off and do the shopping. And when we are feeling sad, they should sympathize with us, right? So we very often build this very unrealistic image of the ideal partner when we are dating people, or when we already are in a relationship. We are putting very high expectations on our partner. And what we can do instead of that is to do some internal work on understanding ourselves, understanding our values, looking at our habits, looking how to develop healthier habits that serve us, and also perhaps form healthier, more supportive belief system that will serve us. But looking at what we can do, how can we change, and how can we change our approach if we have something we struggle with, right? How can we change our approach to make the changes necessary ourselves instead of relying on our partner to change? Because as we know, people don't change, and we can't control that, right? So I just want to briefly also ask you, Anna, about what patterns should we be looking in our previous relationships? So if you could mention 3 key factors or key patterns we should be looking at from our previous relationship that we should pay attention to before we get in a new relationship.
So this is all we are talking about today. I would say, like, first of all, it's like your attachment style. And as you said a moment ago, that stereotypically, and unfortunately this is very real and very true, mostly women are dependent or codependent in relationships. So you have to look at this side of your attachment. If you are dependent or codependent, if you are people pleaser, so if you are trying to fix someone, if you are trying like to rescue someone, rescue your partner, if you are finding the partner who needs this help from you, or are you, for example, meeting partner who is avoidant and you try to
like unavailable,
get him on
right?
your side. Yes, that he's like, for example, focusing on his career, work, friends, his hobbies, but the family is on the second place in his life, which is very painful for many women. Or on the other hand, it can be just standard healthy behavior also, because he wants to have his own life as well. He wants to be somehow independent.
Definitely.
And you are on this dependent or codependent side of the attachment. And then it is harder for you to understand that someone may have their own life, but you would like to spend time with them constantly. Or you would expect to have everything from them. So what you said before. So seek for your attachment style and check what is attachment style of your partner. Is it for sure healthy attachment style? Was he also trying to create a healthy relationship, or was he somehow, what kind of mistakes was he making? And you chose this person, so it means that this kind of person attracts you somehow. And relational psychologists like say that you cannot change your attraction. So it means that you are attracted unconsciously to the certain patterns, to the certain styles from your relationship with your parents. Like what you already know and what you want to go through again to repair what was wrong, what was unfinished. And what you can, like, the attraction will not change. But but you can be attracted to more healthy version of what you know. So if you start healing your wounds, you will also meet the person who also heal their wounds,
Yeah,
or you will heal yourself both in your relationship, because
correct,
relationship can be very healing if
correct.
you focus on healing, not on dramas. If you
Exactly.
decide to like take it and do something about that.
Great. So I
Own
love
it, yeah.
that. Thank you for sharing that insight. So just to recap this, we're looking in terms of the patterns in previous relationships, we are looking at our attachment styles. We are looking, I
Yes.
would say, for reasons for why the relationship has failed and
Yes.
seeing if there is a pattern there. I would also add to that that we should be looking at our ability to form boundaries,
Mm.
because many of us are unaware of that and are not fully implementing boundaries in relationships, and then very often ending up resentful. So, attachment style, reasons why it has failed, the boundaries, and what was
Yeah.
relationship like with our parents, and how, based on what happened in our childhood, what problem are we looking to fix? So, what
Yes.
unfinished business was there in our childhood, in the relationship between us and our parents, and what problem are we trying to fix by attracting the partner with whom we are subconsciously attracting the partner with whom we are kind of continuing the same story, but hoping
Mm.
to fix it. So self-awareness is everything. I
Yes.
completely agree. Uh, just the last question. Um, how can we stay happy despite the changing circumstances in our life? Because as we know, I mean, pandemic is a one thing that happened some time ago already, and it was a very unprecedented times. Nobody was prepared for it. It affected us in huge number of negative ways. Some of us were lucky enough that perhaps it affected us also positively. But in terms of relationship and family life and children's life, there was a huge level of damage that was caused during the pandemic and after pandemic. And that increased also the number of separations and divorces. So bearing
Mm.
that in mind, life changes, it's inevitable. Sometimes we can't do much about it. Sometimes we are in a position to do something. So how can we stay happy despite the changing circumstances in our romantic life?
Mm.
I know it's another big
Um,
question.
yeah, it's like I guess no, the answer for that I would start from like that you can be in living in what's going on at the moment and let yourself feel what you are feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So when you let yourself be in the moment and feel sadness, feel anger, share these feelings with others and fulfill your needs, it is easier to keep yourself in balance. Yeah. If you are
Okay.
staying in the past, if you are thinking about the past and somehow past rules over your life, you are usually depressed.
Mm,
If the future rules over your life, you're usually anxious because you're afraid what will happen. You're
right.
scared. So if you are here and now, obviously you have plans for the future and your goals. But if you're staying
Yeah.
in here and now and living your life, going through this, and trying to accept also the situation as it is, then it is much easier to stay, if not happy, at least peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you try to create like
Exactly.
your inner peace, and with peace comes happiness as well.
Mm,
Like this is the question I would say about spiritual journey. For some people it's philosophical, like they choose some kind of philosophy like stoicism or other, but it's mostly like spiritual journey where when you discover something greater than you. And this peace comes from understanding that there is something like that, and that you just need to accept. And it is usually come also through participation in some kind of, like, as I said before, philosophy or a religion or any form of spirituality that you can practice.
Right. So yes, absolutely. Meditations I found very helpful for me personally, but also finding my purpose in life. Although I am in relationship right now, for me personally, finding a purpose, another purpose, then being a mom, being a wife, and living my life through this purpose has given me great sense of strength and independence. But for those of you who are single or who are separated or divorced, focusing on your own needs, on what makes you happy, practicing habits that make you happy, like physical exercise, meditation, healthy diet, and developing some spiritual connection with a greater force, like Anna described, but also building a relationship with yourself, having conversation with yourself, with your inner child, and understanding what is it that is lacking in your life. How can you fulfill that need on your own before you attract the right partner is essential. Well, this has been a very insightful conversation. Thank you so much, Anna, for joining us today. For those of you who are interested in discovering how therapy can help you, and booking a first free session or introductory call with Anna, the link to her profile is in the comments section below. And if you have enjoyed this video, I would like to encourage you to subscribe, gives us a thumbs up, and click the subscribe button below. We are posting 3 times a week, so we'll see you next week on Wednesday for our next video. Thank you so much.